Stoic Script Part 1. Fear of exclusion. If you believe love alone will hold her, think again. If you think honesty and loyalty are enough, you're already losing. This isn't about romance. It's about power, perception, and presence. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Let's talk about the truth no one wants to hear, especially not her. If you're still clinging to the belief that modern relationships are rooted in love, loyalty, or good intentions, wake up. Today's relationships aren't shaped by fairy tales. They're forged in silent strategy, power, emotional leverage, and psychological control. She doesn't crave the man who brings her peace. She craves the man who makes her feel something she can't control: certainty, tension, curiosity. The man she can't fully predict or possess. One whose presence lingers in silence. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That's how this feels at first, and natural, uncomfortable.
Nice.
But it gives you leverage. This isn't manipulation. It's human nature. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago, long before psychology named it. He didn't write poetry. He wrote about war. And when it comes to attraction, love is war. He revealed 10 emotional vulnerabilities women hope you never learn. Not because they're cruel, but because once you understand them, everything changes. You stop chasing love. You become its gravity. So ask yourself, are you still trying to win her heart? Or are you ready to master the game she plays in silence? Because once you see these patterns, you no longer seek approval. You become the man she studies, misses, and silently fears losing. Let's start with the deepest trigger: fear of exclusion. Thousands of years ago, being rejected meant danger. No protection, no food, no safety. Alone meant vulnerable. Vulnerable meant dead. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." But this fear is real. It's biological. We're no longer in caves, but that fear still whispers, especially in women who survived by connection and acceptance. So what happens when you're always available, always replying, always present? You become invisible, predictable. Background. Noise. The Stoic man knows. Presence only gains value through absence. He pulls back not to punish, but to protect his power. He doesn't rush to reply. He lets moments breathe. That silence creates space in her mind. Why hasn't he answered? Is he pulling away? This isn't a game. It's tension reawakening that ancient fear. Suddenly, your presence is no longer assumed. It's earned. And what's rare becomes valuable, Machiavelli said. The absent are always in the wrong, but the unpredictable are always remembered. Don't always show up. Don't always explain. Let your silence speak. Let her feel the distance. That's not manipulation.
That's
Gravity. That's power in its quietest Stoic form. Stoic Script Part 2. Emotion over logic. Let's clear something up. Most men fail not because they aren't good enough, but because they're too logical. They list their achievements, explain their careers, their income, their degrees, thinking it'll impress her, but they're speaking to her mind. And what moves her, what truly moves her, his feeling. Epictetus said, if you want to be a writer, write. If you want to be unforgettable, don't explain. Make her feel. Women don't fall for credentials. They fall for presence. Fall for tone, timing, tension, the unspoken. Say you work in sales. You tell her, "I work in sales." It's true, but it's cold. It ends the conversation. Now imagine saying, "I help ideas move people." Suddenly, you've sparked her imagination. She leans in. She wonders, what kind of ideas? How do you move people? You're not just a man with a job anymore. You're a man with a mission, Seneca once said. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality. But attraction lives in that imagination. Feed it. Let's keep going. Instead of, "I'm a manager," say, "I create calm inside chaos." People come to me when things break. Instead of, "I'm a developer," say, "I like building things no one sees until they work perfectly." Or this, "I'm in finance," becomes, "I help people make smarter moves with their money before it's too late." These aren't just jobs. They're stories. their emotions wrapped in simplicity. They pull her in, not because they're flashy, but because they spark wonder. This is your power. Logic fades. Facts get forgotten, but emotion lingers. So don't give her a resume. Give her a reason to remember you. Don't be a spreadsheet. Be a novel. Be a movie. Be the thing she replays in her mind long after the conversation ends. As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Let your thoughts become vivid. Let your words paint emotion. Because in a world full of men trying to impress, the one who makes her feel wins without saying much at all. Stoic Script, Part 3. Selective validation and emotional tension. Let's be honest. Most attractive women today live in a storm of attention. She posts a photo, dozens of likes, hearts, fire emojis, her inbox overflowing.
You're gorgeous.
I'd do anything for you. You're a queen. Even if she says it doesn't matter, it does. It builds her sense of power, feeds her ego. Epictetus said, "It is not he who reviles or strikes you who insults you, but your opinion that these things are insulting." The same is true here. It's not the compliment, it's the weight of the man who says it. Well, here's where most men fall. They think, if I just compliment her more, she'll like me. Wrong. If you validate her too quickly, too often, too easy, you become ordinary. She's heard it all before. She's seen hundreds of you already. She doesn't value what she didn't have to earn. She doesn't chase what's always available. Here's the truth. What's free is forgotten. What's earned is remembered. Imagine giving someone a diamond every morning. It's just a rock. No tension, no anticipation, no meaning. Your validation works the same way. You praise her before she invests, she discards it. Now flip it. Imagine this. You're calm. You don't rush. You don't flatter right away. You're grounded. You're focused on yourself. You're not competing. She starts wondering, why isn't he chasing me? And then after, she leans in, shows effort, reaches out. You give one? Compliment. Just one. But it's real. It's rare. It lands. She replays it. She feels it. Because it didn't come from a man seeking approval. It came from a man with standards. Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is to be unlike him. Who performed the injury? Likewise, the best power is to act unlike the crowd. Don't flatter to be liked. Don't validate for attention. Let her earn it. When she finally gets it, it won't feel like a compliment. It'll feel like a reward. It'll feel like power. Every woman wants to feel safe. Out. But safety without tension, that turns into boredom. Stoic Script, Part 4. Social competition and the power of mystery. Most men make the same mistake. They think the key to a woman's heart is total focus, full attention, all eyes on her. They believe if she feels like the only one, she'll value them more. But here's what really happens. When she knows she already has you, she stops trying. Because there's no tension, no challenge, no fear of loss. Marcus Aurelius said, what stands in the way becomes the way. Without resistance, without friction, there is no desire. Here's what you must understand. Women are not just emotional creatures. They're also highly social. They can sense competition, even when no one says a word. So don't try to convince her she's the only one. Let her feel that other women see value in you. You don't need to flirt. You don't need to post photos with models or fake stories. That just screams insecurity. Instead, be subtle, effortless, strategic. Say things like, my friend Sarah gave me that idea. She's great at business. One of the women on my team brought up the same point. Was having coffee with a friend, she mentioned something interesting. You're not showing off, you're not crossing lines. You're simply making one thing clear. Other women exist in your world. They respect you. They're around you. And now she feels it. She starts comparing. Who is she? Why did he mention her? She's smarter, prettier, closer to him than I am? That's the invisible seed. The emotional contrast. Suddenly, your attention becomes scarce. It becomes something to earn. She leans in not because you told her to, but because she wants to win, to stand out, to matter. Seneca wrote, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected. Without trials, tension is not the enemy. It's the sculptor of value. Now let's talk about mystery. The fastest way to lose a woman's interest. Tell her everything. If she knows your life story in the first conversation, where's the chase? Where's the intrigue? The brain is addicted to closure. It hates open loops. That's why cliffhangers work in movies. That's why unanswered questions echo. So give her just enough. Hints, pauses, looks, a story unfinished. Let her wonder, what was he about to say? Why did he pause? What is he hiding? Epictetus said, if you want to be interesting, don't speak of everything you know. Leave space. Let her imagination do the work, because what she imagines will always be more powerful than what you could ever explain. When you let her mind roam, you become a puzzle, a riddle, a story she needs to solve. And that's how obsession begins. It's not through answers, but through the need to know more. Stoic Script, Part 5. Calm leadership and valuable attention. She'll never say it out loud. But deep down, she doesn't just want a man who listens. She wants a man who leads, not a dictator, not a tyrant, but a grounded, quiet leader. A man with presence, a man with a plan. Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. That's what she wants, not your debate, your direction. Even in today's world, where women are more independent than ever, leadership is still deeply attractive. Why? Because strength allows her to relax, as your clarity becomes her calm. Leadership isn't about barking orders. It's about anchoring her storm. It's about making decisions when she doesn't want to carry the weight. For example, let's try that new Thai place Friday. Just be ready by 7. Don't worry, I've got the weekend planned. We'll figure it out. I've handled worse. These aren't commands, they're security. They show her she can lean on you emotionally, mentally, energetically. You don't ask for permission to exist. You offer certainty when the world feels chaotic. Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. That's leadership. It's not loud, it's lived. Don't over-explain. Don't seek approval. Hold the wheel. Let her feel your steady energy. Let her trust your frame. Let her breathe into your strength. And now, in the digital age, there's another silent power move most men overlook, your attention. Today, attention is everywhere, but meaning rare. Every day she gets a flood of likes, steams, fire emojis, compliments that cost nothing, messages that mean nothing. She's desensitized. Not because she's arrogant, but because it's constant. It's noise. So if you're just another man who replies instantly, double texts, sends good. Morning, every day. You become the background. Predictable, replaceable. But if you stay calm, if you respond with intention, not desperation, if your energy feels grounded, not needy, she starts wondering, why hasn't he replied yet? Why doesn't he react like the others? What's different about him? Now you've shifted the dynamic. Your attention becomes rare, and what's rare becomes valuable. Not ignoring her, you're showing her that your attention isn't free. It's earned. You're not chasing beauty. You're waiting for depth. You're not reacting. You're choosing. Seneca said, he who is brave is free. And the man who controls his attention, he controls the room. While other men flood her inbox, you become the one she notices, the one she rereads, the one she remembers. Because while others give freely, you give value. Stoic Script, Part 6. Become the project. Not the prize. Here's a truth most men don't understand. Women aren't always searching for perfection. Sometimes they're drawn to potential. They don't want a man who's finished. They want a man who's building, who's becoming, Epictetus said. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. That's the magnetic pull of progress. Confidence is attractive. Stability is valuable. But perfection? That gets boring. When she feels like she's part of your growth, when she sees that her presence helps you evolve, she becomes emotionally invested. She's no longer just observing your life. She's influencing it, and that's where a powerful bond begins. This doesn't mean you act weak. It doesn't mean dumping problems on her. It means showing her a glimpse of your process, a mission you're working on, a challenge you've decided to face. Say things like, I've been pushing myself to be more disciplined. Finally, taking on public speaking, it scares me, but I'm doing it. I've always wanted to build something of my own. Now I'm laying the foundation. You're not crying for help. You're letting her witness your becoming. This makes her feel like a partner, not just a participant. She's not just there for the destination. She's helping shape the journey. And because she's invested in your path, she becomes attached to her own contribution. This is emotional alchemy. Her belief in you becomes a part of her identity. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." You don't have to be complete. Just have to be in motion, not broken. Becoming, not fragile. Focused. And when she sees that growth, when she sees herself reflected in your rise, she stays. Not because you're perfect, but because your journey feels like hers too. That's the shift most men miss. You're not the prize, you're the project. And she's not chasing a trophy. She's choosing to build something powerful with you. When a woman helps create a stronger version of you, she doesn't just admire it, she protects it. Because now she's protecting something she helped shape. Stoic Script Part 7. Final word, playing smart. Let me leave you with this. Stop being predictable. Stop showing up the second she calls. Giving your time, your energy, and your emotion like they're free. Start observing. Start thinking. Start leading. Marcus Aurelius said, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind." So if your mind is focused on chasing approval, you'll live in insecurity. But if your mind is grounded in principles, you'll live in power. Most men walk into relationships blinded by feelings, craving affection, desperate to be chosen. But the men who rise think like strategists, study human nature. They understand what fuels desire, what earns respect, what builds quiet power, Seneca wrote. No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. For he is not permitted to prove himself. The moments you're being ignored, silence, the space, the uncertainty, use them. That's where your character is forged. Real power doesn't beg. Real power doesn't rush. Real power doesn't explain itself. Real power just is. So take a breath. Step back. Reclaim your time. Reclaim your presence. You don't need to chase anyone. You don't need to prove anything. If she leaves, let her. If she doubts you, stay calm. If she returns, be better. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." And in the game of love, of power, of life, nothing is more powerful than the man who no longer fears being alone. He stands still while the world moves around him. He no longer reacts. He responds with patience, with principle. So if this truth made you uncomfortable, it's good. Because real truth doesn't soothe you. It shapes you. Let it cut through the noise. Let it raise your standards. Let it call you back to who you were always meant to be. This isn't about playing nice. It's about playing smart. Silence. With certainty. With stoic strength. The game has already begun. Now play it on your terms.